In today's video, we'll be talking about the state of Enhancement Shaman in 8.3 from the perspective of a casual player. Stick around. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Gyro here. It's alt leveling season in World of Warcraft. As you saw in my previous video that I posted just a day ago, I feel a little bit of a burnout from the staple content of this channel, where the channel was founded around, and its horrific visions. When you've done those for 100 times, it is becoming a little bit repetitive and fatiguing if you push higher content, higher masks, higher levels of horrific visions, so to speak. And we spoke plenty about that. This video is not about it. This video about showcasing to you one of my alts. Well, we will call it a new alt, even though it's an age-old alt. It was just waiting for its turn to be ranked up and leveled up and, geared up and all those up things, yeah, that we do in World of Warcraft. Now, this is just a quick casual overview of what the class feels like in World of Warcraft to me. And we will take a look, obviously, at a horrific vision run in just a minute or so, where I'll show you an example of where I am pushing, but I'm not pushing stressfully. I'm pushing for as much as this character at its current gear level, item level can do, and I will just share my impressions on how the DPS feels, how rotation feels for a casual, again, not a pro who is pushing Mythic Plus. I was thinking about including Mythic Plus footage in this, but then I decided against it simply because I just don't think that Mythic Plus necessarily is something that I enjoy that much, and I certainly do lower levels of Mythic Plus, like just normal dungeons. I started gearing this guy doing heroics. I just sent BOAs, the fourth ilevel 410 BOAs to this alt when I decided to kind of blow the dust off him and start playing him. And since then, I've been mainly kind of hunting for weapons. My weapons are item level 415 at this stage, and the character, before we enter Horrific Vision, is at 430, 432. I think 432 he is at the moment of entering Horrific Vision. Cloak is rank 1. Rank 1. When we enter Horrific Vision, I won't even have cranial defibrillation. I will show you all of the talents and we will talk about how it feels now there. On to the more typical type of recording, type of footage that you would see from me on this channel, to the run of Horrific Visions that we will probably use for this mini series of videos. If you like this, I'm going to do more videos about similar kind of class little overview rather than a guide per se for you. We will use Horrific Vision as the measurement of power, of a relative power of a class. I know all classes bloom at different periods of time, and by that I mean some classes are much better at later stages of the game, and when you rank up the cloak, when you have higher gear, they suddenly shoot up on DPS meters, while the others, they show you fairly successful kind of runs and fairly successful and enjoyable output of damage or survivability, whatever you're after, depending on the class, early on. So, but in this case, we're just gonna try. We're just gonna try and have this kind of median comparison line drawn somewhere between ilevel 430 and 440. Between 430 and 440, I do know that at the top end and at the lower end, the performance can vary quite a lot. So I will make a conscious effort of keeping them as close as possible. So these guys right now, 432, I'm gonna post other videos about other classes, how they feel, other alts around the same item level. Obviously for those that I haven't reviewed yet, because you know my mains. I cannot go back. They're already very geared, very leveled, and it's already enough was already said about them. But there are still a lot of specs and a lot of classes that I'm interested in that I have not reviewed, such as Shadow Priest, for example, or such as, let's say, Affliction Warlock spec, or such as Survival Hunter. So things that we could use, I think, as casual players, we could use just to keep the momentum going for us until Shadowlands, until we're invited into Shadowlands Alpha, or until the Shadowlands actually launches. Well, that's a far frontier. That's a few months. All right. So having said that, having kind of outlined this rough baseline, I suppose, how we're going to be comparing these classes, I will say that in my opinion, from all you know about how I run Horrific Visions, how I run content, I'd say that Enhancement Shaman feels good. Enhancement Shaman doesn't feel completely OP as, let's say, at lower item level bracket, I have a sense of being OP on DPS scale in terms of what I'm doing in dungeons, what I'm doing in Horrific Visions on a Windwalker Monk. Windwalker Monk, if you remember, we were kind of reviewing. There is a little bit of a video. I wasn't planning to review the class again, but I can dive a little bit closer into it if you want. Let me know if you're interested in Windwalkers. I'm more than happy to share my opinion. So Windwalker felt like seriously a force of nature. Windwalker felt like there was so much burst DPS. There was just such a great ability at this lower item level bracket. When we looked at Windwalkers, comparing to other classes, even Retribution Paladin, things like that, Windwalker felt like a force of nature. Shaman feels close to it, and no pun is intended because Shaman is a force of nature. Um, Shaman feels enjoyable. Shaman feels similar to Windwalker, tiny bit squishy. So you do need to keep a finger on your self-healing key, which for me is obviously the bound to key number 6 on the screen right now. So you need to be very conscious of spend of your maelstrom, which is your energy, obviously in Shaman spec, and mana for that matter as well. When you run out of maelstrom, to spend it on healing. You will see in this run just coming right up, coming in a few minutes, like literally 2-3 minutes in this district, in the Dwarven district, you will see a very, very scary moment. But this is a classic example of where I'm not stressed. I am actually enjoying this right now. Am I pushing at this item level right now for 2 chests with Cloak Rank 1 without cranial defibrillation? Oh yeah, I feel like I'm pushing, but this push is enjoyable for me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you see the difference between what I was talking about in the last video and this one? Because that is exactly the point. These type of runs are coming your way, absolutely, because they are enjoyable for me, especially if they are on a class that I haven't overused it. I don't know if overused is the right term, but I've done way too much on DK. I've done way too much on Demon Hunter. I've even done way too much on a normal Hunter, and I'm talking Beastmaster spec because I'm Beastmaster all the time, right? But there are specs that are of interest to me, like this enhancement. Now, I feel like enhancement does not need unpruning of abilities. Again, not an expert. Let me know what you think. I'll explain. I basically don't think that, for example, Lava Lash feels particularly meaningful as a button to press. It's bound to my key number 2 right now on the screen. Rock Biter weapon as the main kind of generator of Maelstrom and as the main button always available to you. Yeah, it's okay. It's not fun. Storm Strike obviously is fun. Storm Strike is a staple ability and it's fantastic. Lightning Crash, the one that is bound to my mouse up, so it's right now recharging. It's the blue icon under the Storm Strike. I love it too. I love how it synergizes with the Storm Strike. This is the scary moment. I had to hex. I had to polymorph hex that mob so that it doesn't kill me because I'm so low and I ran out of mana and maelstrom. That's what I was talking about, to heal myself. So you do need to be conscious of these kind of things. Do I encourage you to push like this without cranial defibrillation? Hell no. Hell no. But this was fun and it shows to you also capability of a class to run away, heal a bit, polymorph someone. It's similar. I know I'm jumping between comparisons here, but I'm trying to give you an overall kind of picture. It sort of reminds me a tiny bit about Feral Druid, of Feral Druid. Feral Druid in cat form is also fairly squishy, but Feral Druid can do AoE entangling roots, run away, heal quickly, while everything around them is still bleeding. Heal is available, yeah, everything. I love Feral Druids as well. I will definitely do more Feral Druid. Feral Druid still has a way to go, I think. Just not to the stressful edge that we discussed already. Yeah, I'm still a bit fresh on that because one video is following another. What else is to say about Enhancement Shaman? So yeah, I would easily lose Lava Lash. I don't mind Flame Tongue Weapon because it seems to be the design of a lot of DPS classes is you have at least one debuff, one damage over time thing to apply to your target, and then you have 2 to 3 abilities to do in some sort of resemblance of priority system or rotation that you press. I personally, I don't expect you to agree with me on this one. I don't. I know I'm in a minority, but I enjoy gameplay more than 6, 7 buttons. And I said that before in previous videos as well. So to me, if I had some evolution of Rock Biter weapon, Storm Strike, Lightning Clash, and Flame Tongue weapon, like 4 active abilities plus Interrupt, that would be enough for me. I don't need more. I'm enjoying it anyway. It's enough fun for me anyway. So in this particular case, as you can see, the class is strong enough at this level, at this item level, and even with Cloak Rank 1, is strong enough to finish 2 objectives and come to the final boss before we're fighting the final boss. Well, I mean, 1 objective plus the final boss, 2 objectives in total, I mean, and still have an orb right now to use. So I'm just fluffing around here as I always do, a little bit at the entrance. Sometimes I take screenshots and use them in the thumbnails of the videos. Sometimes I just fluff around and give myself a chance to talk to you guys about this in case I forgot something. Um, so yeah, I recommend as a casual, I do recommend Enhancement Shaman. I think I love just even the fantasy and the feel, not just the fantasy, but the feel as a player of when Wind Fury procs, or you basically feel like he's just engaging and then something just quickly happens and mobs just melt in front of you. Whenever that happens, to whichever degree it happens, I know my item level is too low to properly capitalize on this and showcase that. I really enjoy that bit. Always did. That was probably the main very so like I know I'm jumping around a bit, but I hope you follow me. Every class in World of Warcraft, I believe, maybe with I don't know every or most of the classes. Let's say most of the classes in World of Warcraft, in my opinion, have at least one staple ability that makes you feel really good as a player. Example is for Shaman, maybe it's not an ability per se, but it's that feel of a Wind Fury. It's a feel that you are and you just brought someone down instantly. For monks, for Windwalker monks, it's Fists of Fury, similar kind of thing. Always available, does a lot of damage, all that. For survival hunters, it's Harpoon for me right now. The fact that I can just pull myself to the target and then start slashing them, even though I cannot, like spoiler alert, we will talk about it in more detail. At the moment, I'm still getting a feel for the class, and at the moment, it doesn't talk to me. It doesn't talk to me. I'm on the fence with Survival Hunter at the moment. I think the spec is really botched up, but I'm still attracted to it in terms of exploring it and seeing how it fares in horrific visions and so on. So yeah, a lot of classes have something about them that is unique, and that is, I think, part of the reason why World of Warcraft still is kicking as a game after what 15, 16 years of it being around. It is still a great game. I'm glad that we are all in it. Subscribe while we are on a positive note. Your support means a lot. More videos like this are coming to you. Oh, look at me. Why is my nose bleeding? Why is my nose bleeding like this? Why? Ah, I didn't notice first time I was recording it. Oh, confronting. All right, Horrific Vision of Stormwind done for the first time on Enhancement Chamois. Play Enhancement Chamois if you are bored. Good class. Love it. Really love it. Fantastic. Talk to you soon in the next video, guys. These pants, not gonna use them because I think 445 is better. All right. Talk to you soon in the next video. Leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already.